I've been wrestling for some time now with the spiritual gift of impatience. I used to pray for patience. I don't ask for that so much anymore. I'm finding myself impatient for the world around which we dream. I find myself impatient for justice now, for everyone to have enough, for every child to have a place to learn and grow, for every mom and dad to know that they can make their ends meet, for every college student to graduate and know that they'll have their debts paid for, that they'll find a way to work in the world. I'm impatient. How about you? I find myself thinking, now is the time, right now, this day, today is the time. And that, in fact, we are the ones we've been waiting for to heal the world.
Waiting, anticipating, change would begin. Then it hit me. I was what was missing. My weight was dead. That's why we couldn't move again. But no more delays. It all ends today. It don't have to be so heavy if you pull your weight. You and I are the ones we've been waiting for. You and I thought this was somebody else's war. You and I are the ones we've been waiting for.
Hooked by a promise, just hope change is coming, but hope alone won't bring about that change. We are God's heartbeat, God's hands and God's feet. God in the flesh, let's blast full steam ahead. But no more, no more delays. It all ends today, and it won't have to be so heavy if we carry our weight. waiting for. Oh, the ones we've been waiting for. You and I, you and I, the ones we've been waiting for. We are the ones we've been waiting for.
Amen. Wasn't that beautiful? Where's Ronnie Carney? Ronnie, thank you for the... Thank you for the choreography. Thank you so much, dancers. Thank you so much, choirs. What an amazing morning. It's been a really great week. I got a chance to marry two long-term members of Middle Church this week, Nana and Frank. They got married on the 32nd anniversary of their meeting, 32nd years of their meeting, at a house concert in Amsterdam. Frank says he fell in love with Nana right away because Nana was behaving badly, and that was exactly what Frank needed at the time. You gotta know what you need. He was cracking wise, laughing loud, making jokes. At the wedding were their two adopted African-American children, Rosa and Joshua. Do you guys remember Joshua when he was a little boy? He's 9 years old now. Their birth mothers and two long-term friends of the couple. The ceremony was short, emotional. Nana wept and giggled intermittently. He's like this successful international banking dude, and he was crying and giggling. It was hilarious. He's so in love with his stay-at-home husband. I watched them manage their children, Joshua and Rosa, with this kind of love. Joshua's got a couple developmental things going on, and when he gets uncomfortable, Nana just pulls him in close and kind of rubs his afro and gets him to match his breath. It's beautiful. And Rosa's madly in love with her dad, so all he has to do is give her like a look and a kiss, and it's done. All good to go. She was dressed in little tux. And at one moment in time, I watched this little girl hold her dad's face and kiss him softly on the lips, giving him a little blessing, a little kiss of peace, passing the peace to her newly married dad, baptizing him with her breath. It's been a good week, but it's been a busy week, so I was trying to, around the edges, do emails. I am so behind. So if I owe you one from a month ago, forgive me, it's coming soon. I got in a car that they had ordered for me, and I just had 15 minutes of peace, and I was being driven by this guy named Abu Rahman. I know his name because I asked him, "What's your name?" Abu Rahman. No, that's not what he said. He said, "My name is Abel." Abel? Not really. What is your real name? My real name is Abu Rahman. I said, "Okay, I can say that." And I said, Abu Rahman, what does it mean? Servant of God. Servant of God. From Morocco. For a long time in the car, we were very quiet, so quiet that we could hear each other breathing. And then finally, after I answered about 25 emails, I said, so tell me more about you. He said, "Well, I'm a singer." "You're a singer?" "Yes, but, well, I don't really sing anymore." "Why don't you sing anymore?" "My wife is really religious, and she's from Pakistan, and she doesn't like me in the clubs and bars," he said. "Well, sing something for me." It's just lilting, gorgeous, sixths and flatted somethings, and I don't know what they were. but it was a blessing as the sound came out over his breath. In the car, I felt anointed by peace. He's a Muslim man. I don't think he was supposed to be singing for me in the car. But it was a beautiful moment of irreligious disobedience. I've met quite a few Muslim men in cabs who disobey and talk to me and greet me and say kind things to me like, "What do you do for a living? You have a really nice smile." And I say, I'm a pastor, and it doesn't shut them up. It makes them want to talk a lot. Tell me something about your God. Tell me about your church. It is amazing. So I do a little evangelism in the taxi cabs a lot. And by evangelism, I mean good news sharing, not converting. By evangelism, I mean finding that space in the breath where their God and my God are one. I met a young man named Junaid Ahmad, a lawyer and a teacher in Lahore when Bob took me on a Pakistan trip. Hi, Bob, who took me on a Pakistan trip. I experimented too much with the lovely food and the buffet at the hotel, and I was sick like a dog sick. Like a dog sick. And the young Muslim students that Junaid teaches are just like, he's their Pied Piper. And one of the young women said, "Go find Junaid, he will heal you." I'm like, dude, I'm pretty sure he's not trying to deal with me. But yes, he did. He personally went to his doctor and got me antibiotics and came to my room and brought me yogurt and antibiotics and water and held my hand and said, "You're gonna feel better," and gave me words on his breath that were healing words. Not flirting, not transgressing, just warm loveliness coming from one young Muslim man to a slightly, little bit more than slightly older Black Christian woman who needed some love and care and a blessing, and I got it. I got it. I got it from Junaid, like I got it from the woman on the train who'll give me tissues because my nose is running. Or I get it from my colleague and friend Hussein, who will treat me like a buddy, like Hussein Rashid will treat me like a man, like a buddy. You know, we just have buddy talks. And I get from him such wisdom. Or I get it from my friend Noam Morans, who's a rabbi who lives in the city and works for the American Jewish Association, and saw me at a breakfast the other morning and hugged me and said, "Jacqui, I miss you so much. When are we going to have coffee and talk about how we're going to heal the world?" The story that Chad read is kind of fantastic. The crucifixion has happened. Those who believe the resurrection has happened. But those who believe, those Jewish people, because they're not Christians, not yet, not for a long time. Those Jewish people who believe that Jesus is raised again are hiding out because they're terrified of what will happen to them if somebody finds out that they too are believers, if they believe this nonsense about dead rabbis getting up out of the grave. They are terrified that if they're found out, caught, they might be crucified. And so they're hiding behind these doors for fear of the authorities. And the way the text reads, it sounds like Jesus walks through the closed doors, lets them kind of touch his hands and shows them his wounds and breathes on them. The text says, a Holy Spirit, or a spirit of holiness, or better yet, in the Aramaic, a spirit of set-apartness. He breathes on them a spirit of set-apartness and tells them that as God has sent me, I'm sending you. You go and do what I've been doing. You go today and heal the world. So I want to just talk about a couple of pieces of that. One is walking through doors. Have you ever seen the YouTube clip of the Pakistani man that walks through the glass doors? Yeah, no, yeah. There's a Pakistani man who was standing in an office building, looking at his briefcase, waiting for the electric doors to open, waiting for the electric doors to open, waiting impatiently for the electric doors to open. He turns around to see if he is being seen, and no kidding, dude walks through the glass doors and breaks the glass doors. I'm not really actually recommending that we walk through glass doors, but I am saying that one of the lessons from this incredible, fantastic, hard to believe text is we've got to walk through some doors. We close doors because we are afraid. Afraid of the authorities, afraid of rejection, afraid of what's going to happen to us if it's found out that we are Christian or Jewish or UU or Baha'i or anything that sounds like we might be do-gooders and faithful. Oh, how we are so on the down low with our faith. And we have the door closed because we're afraid that if the door opens, we might actually have to walk through it and do something. The doors are closed for fear of actually succeeding at the thing we know we're dreaming about. We have got to open the doors and walk through. We've got to walk through the doors to the other side where the other one is sitting, waiting to meet us for a conversation, for a confrontation, for some care and some love, for some pushback, and some collaboration. We've got doors to walk through. Jesus breathed the set apart or the setting apart spirit on the disciples because there is absolutely nothing we can do without breathing. Can't be the hands and feet of the holy without some breath. Can't speak a word of truth to power without breath. Can't sing songs that transform lives without breath. Can't run the race of faith without breath. We cannot heal the world or our souls without the set-apart, life-giving breath. When Jesus breathes this breath in John's recording of it, he's making us think about that story in the Hebrew scriptures of God breathing, animating, life-giving breath into the Ha-Adam. Take a breath. No, come on, really take a real breath. Like that, I'm about to sing Sip It Down, Deep Breath. I'm in the yoga studio doing the warrior pose breath. I would like to invite us, as a lesson from today's text, to make every breath a sacrament. Our breathing a sign and seal of the reality that we have been animated and inspired and enthused with breath, and that the breath is the power to do the thing we need to do. Can we do that? So take another breath. Have a sacramental breath. And then the thing that Jesus had to offer on the set-apart breath that came out of his mouth was peace. Not peace of the pictures of the blonde Jesus with the wavy hair peace. But peace, he said himself, not like the world's peace. Not just the absence of conflict, not just the absence of war, but the presence of safety, the presence of comfort, the presence of food enough, shelter enough, that you don't have to fight with someone in order to survive. The presence of safe streets to live on so that children are not killed by flying bullets. The presence of dignity and worth for every human being, no matter who they love and how they love them and how they look. The presence of a job that will pay a living wage so we can take care of our families. The presence of unsegregated schools that are equal for our children in which to learn. The presence of interreligious confrontation and conversation and dialogue and collaboration and work that needs to be done not in our silos, work that can only be done if we cooperate with one another. The presence of gender equality, where girl children are not tossed out on streets or having their clitorises cut, or having their bodies raped and maligned, or being taught that they're second-class citizens anywhere, in any room on the planet. The presence of 1% and 99% and so-called takers and so-called givers, everyone across the economic spectrum having enough and working together so that everyone has enough and not being polarized as though we don't need each other to survive. The peace that is not the world's peace that Jesus breathed out upon his followers on the set-apart breath with which he commissioned them is so juicy and desirable for all of us that we can't wait to do it in this room. Like we have to cut it off. It is the Eirene Humin in Greek, the Shalom Aleichem in Hebrew, the Assalamu Alaikum in Arabic, the Shalom Aleichem in Aramaic. I can't hear the difference between those that well, because all of them come from the root word SLM, which means peace. It's the que la paz soit avec vous in French, the la paz sea con vosotros in Spanish, the pax vobiscum in Latin, the peace be with you in English, or my favorite translation from our little baby Dominic, peace to you in 4-year-old speak. Finally, a lesson from this fantastic text is that Jesus bequeathed to the followers the ability to retain sins or forgive sins. To retain sins or forgive sins. I love the way the sin word, hamartia, is like missing the mark. To hold accountable, to hold a tablet, to keep track of all of the ways that people have missed the mark, or to let it go. To hold it tight in a basket and remind them about it over and over and over again, or to free somebody and let it go. I don't think we can get to the healed world, the healed self, with a big old trunk full of junk that we're dragging around about all the ways we've been wronged and all the ways we wrong one another. It's exhausting. Forgiveness is for us. Fresh starts are for us, so that while we're running the race to peace, our bags are light. As the Father has sent me and I send you, send them out into a hot mess, he did, to Roman occupation, he did, sent them into harm's way, sent them in their fear and anxiety and unreadiness, sent them to start a movement, sent them unready, afraid, to a world where moral courage was demanded of them. So my question for you is, what sends you? Frustration? Go. Conviction? Get busy. The holy breath, the set-apartness of spirit? Let's get our groove on. Moral courage? I'm down with it. And impatient love? That's where I'm living. I'm ready for a steady, rock steady, filled with fallible human beings who need to be forgiven, movement for justice and peace, right now, today. Some circles of the world are waiting for the second coming of Jesus so it can happen. Somebody's waiting on, I don't know, Buddha to make an appearance so it can happen. Somebody is waiting on somebody else to do it. But you and I are the ones. We're the only ones. We're the ones we've been waiting on.